Pittsburgh Steelers fans, thanks for joining us this weekend for another edition of We Run the North, a BTSC podcast. I'm Kevin Tate. I am Kevin Tate. Look, I'm forgetting everything. I forget where I'm at. I'm Kevin Tate, host of the Know It All podcast, a guest contributor to the BTSC Behind the Steel Curtain Network. Today, I have with me Brandon B. Dirt, Mike Tate, aka Andre, Cleveland Browns fan, and representing the Baltimore Ravens today, we have Pay. He's actually a Chicago Bears fan, but he knows a lot about football, so he knows the Baltimore Ravens. So we got him on here. We got him an invite on here to this week. But today, what we're going to be talking about. Well, first of all, let me let everybody say something about themselves, what they want to say. B Dirt, you go ahead and go first, man.
Hey, man. I normally start off with thanks for having me on, as always. I really enjoy doing this podcast, giving a little bit of a Bengals flavor from Pittsburgh. I'm about 3 miles from downtown, for those of you who don't know. And I got some interesting takes on what we're going to talk about on the Bengals. A little bit off the radar from what you might see on just Googling these and looking these numbers up.
Okay. Andre.
All right, Pittsburgh fans, and this is the true leader of the division, Cleveland Browns fan, Mike Tate, reporting to you live from Ravens territory, believe it or not. Glad to be here. We're definitely interested in having a conversation with everybody pertaining to the Cleveland Browns being the best of all time.
Nobody believes that. Hey, Payday, go ahead, man. What's up?
As Kev had said, I'm a Bears fan by heart. But I was asked to come do this and represent the Baltimore Ravens. I believe I can do that. I've been watching football for over 30 years, so I think I can represent them correctly. One day we're going to have to represent the Bears in the same light. I hope so. If they ever get their foot out of their back hind parts.
Okay. But hey, so today, everybody in the live chat, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? George, GT, what's up, man? Kathy, how are you today? But what we're going to talk about today, we're just going to do each of the franchises. We got one person representing each franchise. We're going to do a top 10 players all time in each franchise. We're going to run them down. We're going to go 10-1. And then when that's over with, we're going to look at some comments from the live chat. And then before we get out of here, we're going to have a all AFC North fantasy football draft. We're going to draft a quarterback each, a running back each, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a defense, and a kicker. So I don't even know the Browns and Bengals kicker, so I don't know how I would draft those. I'll just say Brown kicker, Bengal kicker. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, like I said, with the top 10, and we are going to do this in order of the way the teams finished in the division last year. Last place team revealing their top 10 first, and then we'll just keep it moving from there. So, Payday. Hey man, you got the Baltimore Ravens top 10, and you can go ahead and tell it to us 10-1. And you can tell a little bit about any player you want to discuss a little more in depth, get some kudos to or something like that.
All right. So you all know the Baltimore Ravens. They started in '96. They're like my wish my team was supposed to be like. They pretty much ripped off the Bears. If you ask me, they're a defense first team. They run. They're all smash mouth, and they've got 2 Super Bowls to show for it, so they know what they're doing there. So I just want to shout out to Ravens, their franchise, all the fans. You guys have got it, it's a good thing going. So let's go ahead and start this list off. Number 10 is I'm probably started off really controversial. Number 10, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, all-time leader in every probably quarterback, standings that they got there. all-time leader in passing yards, touchdowns, and those type of things happen when you've led the quarter, when you've been underneath the center for 11 years. So you got if you remember that playoff run he had in 2000, what was it? 11? Unbeatable. He makes the list just off that. If I have my way with it. Okay. Let's go to number 9. Jamal Lewis, all-time leader in rushing yards. Again, a team that's loves to run the ball. He's number 1 on their list. He's got that 2,000-yard season, which has only been done a handful of times since in the last 25 years. Can't take that away from him. Let's move to number 8. Haloti Ngata, defensive line anchor for 9 seasons with Baltimore. 5-time All-Pro. You were lucky if you got past him. Lucky's let's throw some quotations on that because you had Ray Lewis coming up right behind him. Marshall Yanda, he's checking in at number 7, just like Ngata, multiple time All-Pro, 7 of them, as a matter of fact. They've got defensive stalwarts there in Baltimore. Like I said, they do things well on that side of the ball. Now let's get to this. It gets a little harder now that we get in the top 6. And my number 6, Art Modell, longtime owner of the Baltimore Ravens, longtime owner, and the best thing he ever did, move him out of Cleveland. Number 6. Let's go to number 5, and let's stay in that same mode. Number 5, Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome, de facto longtime general manager of the team, executive of the year almost every year. He's drafted everybody that I've said so far, and he will, and he's going to draft everybody that's going to be on this list. Number 5, Ozzie Newsome, 2-time champ. Don't forget that, 2-time champ. Number 4, Terrell Suggs. 9-time All-Pro, 2011 Defensive Player of the Year. He basically he took the torch passed to him by Ray Lewis. You'll hear more about Ray Lewis later. Terrell Suggs, he's the living embodiment of what Ravens come to think of when they think of a defensive leader. Let's get to that top 3 now. It's getting real tough now. Now it's head honchos, and this was a tough one because I really wanted to make a case for him to be number 1, but Jonathan Ogden at number 3, the original draft pick of the Baltimore Ravens after they got out of that sad situation over there in Cleveland, and they jumped into the draft. They hit a home run. They couldn't hit a home run while wearing those other colors, but as soon as they flipped over to purple, they drafted a Hall of Famer right there with Jonathan Ogden. 11 All-Pros, played every game for the Ravens. He is the best offensive player in franchise history, without a shout. I think he's the 3rd offensive player that I've named so far. Jonathan Ogden, shout out to him. Very, very, very well established, very, very worthy to be in the top 3. Could be top 1. Should be the number 1 player in franchise history. You can make that argument without anybody laughing. Number 2, again, another guy that you can make an argument to be the best player in franchise history, Ed Reed. Shout out to all my Hurricane fans. I think you all know where this is going from now. 2006 Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, or he won Defensive Player of the Year, and he was still in his rookie contract. That's how good he was. And again, no one should argue with you if you say he's the greatest safety of all time. Maybe some of those Troy P guys will say, he's got a shot, but if you watched him, there's no way that you could say anybody is even in his league playing defensive backfield. And I think you all know who number 1 is. Sorry for anybody that was looking for any Lamar Jackson hype up. But he's not there yet for this team. This team is defensive first. You got to have this. So this list needs to be defensive steady. Ray Lewis, another Hurricane guy, number one. When you think of the Ravens, you think of Ray first. He's the heart and soul of the franchise. Two-time champ. They don't win any of those rings. They don't do anything without Ray being drafted right there with Jonathan Ogden in that same draft. Again, he's the man. He's the man for the team, and he will be that statue putting us right outside the stadium is well deserved. M&T Stadium, shout out, and he would be the mold that they go for generations to come when they draft linebackers or any defensive player. All right, so there's my list. Let me know how you all think about it.
Hey man, so I think it's a good list. What was some of your thought that went into potentially putting Jonathan Ogden at number one?
Again, like I said, Jonathan Ogden was the first draft pick of the franchise after they got East.
Right.
Hall of Famer. One of the best tackles in not just franchise history but league history. So the argument's there. He could be there. He could be number one. If someone wanted to go that route, I wouldn't argue with him. Ray's got an argument, got a great argument. Ed's got a great argument. Jonathan Ogden's got a great argument. He's the best, not only the best tackle or lineman in that franchise, he's the best offensive player in that franchise. He never didn't show up. And a personal compliment, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I met him once for a big football player. Humble giant. Love him.
I think I liked where you put him, Pay, and I'll tell you my little take on it is when you think of the Baltimore Ravens, I think defense first. So I think as their identity, I think Ogden's at third is a good play.
Let me comment and ask real quick. Then I'll see if Andre has anything to comment about Baltimore. You did something different. I didn't think of with my list. You put some owner and front office people up there also.
That was great.
Yeah. I didn't think to do that. I mean, I got so many people to pick from though with Pittsburgh, but
I do not.
I also want to ask you was any thought given to Lamar Jackson currently and or Steve McNair?
Rest in peace, McNair. First and foremost, for me, McNair, Eric McNair, he doesn't have the seniority for me.
Enough tenure in Baltimore.
Right, he doesn't have enough tenure because his MVP year was in Tennessee. So, for me, he would be on the OLI, and Lamar, he's still, Lamar is still in his prime, or maybe just entering it. So, for me to list him now, I felt like would be kind of I don't want to say disrespectful, but a little getting ahead of myself when there's so many guys that have a finished canvas. You can give them give them their flowers right as of right now. Lamar, there'll be times when there'll be an ample opportunity to place him directly where he needs to be. He's on it. He's on a trajectory to be maybe their greatest offensive player of all time. He's already got the MVP. He's done some amazing things. I just want to see more. Jonathan, as of this list right now, you've got guys that's that's put in the work, did the grind. So I wanted to just give them their flowers now and leave the active players, let them do their thing on another time.
Okay, and one more question, then I got a question for Andre, and I'm gonna give it to him. What do you think Jonathan Ogden is the best all-time tackle to ever play in the division?
In the division, yes. I think that's an easy yes. And if you extrapolated it farther out to maybe conference or league, maybe.
That's why I said that.
Man, you set him up for failure, Tate. Come on now.
Easy yes. Easy yes.
You have to go to the tape. What's the time stamp on this? Go to the tape.
Easy, yes. I'll await Brandon, to give us his Joe takes later. But as of right now, I wouldn't pick against Ogden. If you put them both on the board, which we will do later, if we put them both on the board, I'm taking Ogden before, without even thinking, double guessing myself.
I think when B Dirt has his go around, he'll have somebody for you. Hey Andre, I just want to ask you, man, would you trade what the Browns have been 99 to now to have them have stayed in Cleveland and everything the Ravens did for the Browns?
I mean, what kind of question is that? Of course I would. I still go to Baltimore State. I go to Baltimore Ravens Stadium right now, and I look at that goddamn first championship brick that they got in front of it. Actually, it's in the harbor. The 19. What year was that they won the championship?
That was
whatever
2002. 2002.
2002 championship, and I'll etch an asterisk in it as my own personal thing. The city of Baltimore doesn't know I do this though, but yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, you got any comments on the Baltimore Ravens before you get ready to give yours?
I actually do. You know what? Listening to the Baltimore Ravens top 10 list, which was a pretty decent list. I agree with them all the way until you got the art, but hey, for obvious reasons. But the Ozzie Newsome pick was very interesting, and it got me thinking about other things that's going to come up on my list that may reflect on another person's list. So I think this it was really cool. So I like the list.
Okay, well, with no hesitation, let's go ahead and get to the Cleveland Browns top 10 as you see them, Andre.
All right. Cleveland Browns top 10 as I see them. Number 10, I have Paul Warfield. Paul Warfield is a product of Ohio. Matter of fact, he went to my uncle, who's like my father's alma mater, Warren G. Hardy High School in Warren, Ohio. Classic, timeless Brown, hard worker, Hall of Famer. I wasn't around for him. I seen tape. Paul Warfield. Number 9 would be Lou Garza, another Hall of Famer, another.
I'll be honest. I don't know him. What position did he play?
He played. He was a tackle and a place kicker.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Number 8, Clay Matthews Jr. Now, we all know Clay Matthews from Green Bay, but this is his father. Long-time Cleveland, I believe 14 years in Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns Hall of Fame, National Football Hall of Fame, all-time leading tackle for Cleveland Browns. And his contribution to football is still being felt today. So, Clay Matthews. All right, my number 7, maybe a little controversial. This falls along the same lines as Lamar Jackson. I don't think his breadth of work is that long. He probably doesn't need to be on this list. However, his impact on the game in Cleveland and the whole game as a whole is undeniable. So my number 7 is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is a force multiplier. He is a beast, and he is definitely on my top 10. Cleveland Browns top 10 is a little tricky though. All right, my number 6. Payday stole my glory, but my number 6 is Paul Brown. Paul Brown, longtime coach of the Cleveland Browns, right? Back in the 50s, we won all of our championships with Paul Brown, and then he went to some other place in Ohio and did some other things with somebody over there. So I don't know if he made his list, but you can see how the Ozzie Newsome, Paul Brown, all the things, everything works. I thought it was actually kind of cool.
You're just not going to say Art Modell, are you?
Oh,
hey, can't even get it out of your mouth.
No. I'm gonna haze myself later to even mention it in my breath when Pay said something about it. All right. So my number 4, another controversial pick, but hands down is probably the best we've ever had. Not ever had, excuse me. Not ever had. Number 2 we've ever had. Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a quiet assassin.
Nick Chubb already, even ahead of Myles Garrett?
Hey, this is the Cleveland Browns. Let me do my thing.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. So Cleveland.
I got plenty of questions when you're done, though.
All right. So Nick Chubb on his short tenure with the Cleveland Browns has been that impactful. He has changed the division. He has impacted the division. He has changed the league. He needs to be. He's on our top 10, hands down. I can't wait for the old bearded wonder up there to say what he got to say. So, number 3, Joe Thomas. We all know Joe Thomas. Baltimore knows him very well. Our defensive lineman, the heartbeat of the Cleveland Browns for a long time. He was with us. He helped us kind of get us back in the right trajectory. He is, in my opinion, the Jonathan Ogden of the Cleveland Browns. Best way to put it. Number 2, Otto Graham. I mean, it goes without saying. And number 1, I'm sure you all know this, is the number 1 running back of all time, Jim Brown. And that's my list. All right, come with it. Come on.
I just a couple of questions, man. I mean, Nick Chubb is really high, I feel like, on the Cleveland Browns list. I mean, but it's your list, right? But I mean, I could see Nick Chubb if you put him in like 10, but you had him in like 5, right?
Name a running back that has more impactful for the Cleveland Browns than Nick Chubb.
Ernest Biner.
Name a running back that wasn't a one-hit wonder or a couple-year wonder for the Cleveland Browns that wasn't more impactful than Nick Chubb.
You left Bernie Kosar off your list.
I did.
And no quarterbacks on the list, right?
Not a one. Oh no, Otto Graham.
Otto Graham.
Okay.
Brian Sight. Brian Sight won the NFL MVP.
I agreed. Again, the top 10 Cleveland Browns, and that's my list. It's because I don't want to call those seasons flukes, but what numbers other than that season? If you take that season away from them, what numbers did they put up?
Well, I mean, Nick Chubb's done what in 3 years?
Competed for the rushing title all 3 years.
Yeah, and got Brian Sight, MVP. Bernie Kosar, 2 AFC championships. Always kept them in contention back when you guys were actually really good. I mean, I'm just thinking of players I might have put on the list. I'm thinking about Frank Minifield, Hanford Dixon, the dog pound. They are the dog pound.
I get it. I understand what you're saying, but these are the top 10. If I take my top 10 and I put them against somebody else's top 10, who's gonna come out in the dog fight?
I'm glad Cass said it, man. You could have named some people out the dog pound and put them on your list, and because some of these players that that you threw out there, the fans have more impact than some of the guys you threw.
What's wrong with the guys I threw out there? Help me.
No, man.
How is
Myles
Garrett not a top 10 runner?
Myles Garrett should have been in your top 5 if you ask me. But your list, like you said, you should have threw him in your top 5. The Browns got nothing wrong with Nick Chubb. I probably would have for a franchise as old as the Browns. I probably wouldn't have had Chubb in the top 8,
here's
maybe.
My problem with that. So here's what I battled with the Cleveland Browns and picking my list. You got pre-merger, you have post-merger, right? And I have about 3 lists, right? And honestly, I picked this list because it's probably going to be the most controversial, and I like to go back and forth about it. But I got a classic list with, all the dog pound, and I don't even have it with me, but, all the, oh man, this
Hey man,
Richburg.
So this guy said three times that Najee Harris is better than Nick Chubb. Potentially, but he ain't now. Yeah, he's over here. He's over here making a lot of comments on the side.
Richburg he is a thorn in my side.
I appreciate it. The Steelers are coming for the Bengals. Come on over. We're not moving the stadium.
We want to see. I want to see Najee do it first. Chubb is probably pound for pound best rusher in the game. Just athletic. Not athletic, but like traditional rushing prowess. He might be right there.
He's top 3 with Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry.
I agree.
In my opinion, he's a better rusher than Derrick Henry. It's just Chubb is bona fide all the time. I don't know, but right now,
But I get what Mike was going with there. You know what I mean? I get he's going with putting some of the new blood in there. I think, from what I being in Pittsburgh, I listen to a lot of Steelers stuff and whatnot. Najee's come in with about 15 more pounds of muscle on him this year, which I think is going to help him immensely. I think he's got a real big upside, but you got to do it for 4 or 5 years before we start anointing people. But that said, I think I put 3 running backs in our league in the top 5 or 6 running backs in 3 running backs in our division and the top 5 or 6 running backs in the league. I think we got 3 studs. And I think what's your boy's name from Ohio State? I think he could have a breakout year in Baltimore.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd love to have him on my fantasy team. Derrick Henry is a big boy coming back from a toe injury. I need to see that happen again. See how he bounces back from that. But yeah, I mean, over the past 4 or 5 years, he's been a beast. He's been the best in the league over that time frame. In my mind.
Okay. So, B Dirt, we'll go ahead and just jump into your Bengals top 10, man.
Okay, so I'm going to preface this by saying we have a 30-year head start over a 25-year, almost 30-year head start on the Baltimore Ravens, and we have 1/6 of the Pro Bowlers that have played for us. If you give us Baltimore's had, yeah. So if you just take just Ravens that played their bulk of their career and went in as Ravens, it's 3-1 to ours. So yeah, it's not been. I mean, everybody knows who we've been. We've been little brother in this division for a long time, especially before Cleveland got uprooted to Baltimore. They had a much better run than us through the 80s. So I'm going to start with number 10. Is kind of a weird one in my list. I'm going to go with Bob Trumpy. So Bob Trumpy was a tight end for us from 68 to 77. He made 2 American Football League All-Stars. He made 2 Pro Bowls. But where I gave him the nod over a few other people, he played his career basically with the Bengals. We had some good guys that played not a significant chunk of their career for us. But he also got in a Hall of Fame award for radio and TV. He was one of the first guys out of the booth that really, I think most people would remember him as what he did in the booth rather than what he did on the field. He called 4 Super Bowls. He's also called PGA. He's also did the Olympics with Bob Costa. So he had an 80s local program in Cincy. He still lived in Cincy when he was doing all this. And he used to do Sunday night football games for Westfield One afterwards as well. Number 9, I'm going to go David Fulcher. Near and dear to my heart, probably my favorite Bengal of all time. third in franchise in history in hits with 31. He had 3 straight Pro Bowls, and he was the leader of our SWAT team, which in that '80s, the late '80s, when we were good. The last time we were in a Super Bowl, he led Lewis Billups, Solomon Wilcots, Eric Thomas, and that was our defensive back. But he was kind of that with him and Tim Crumry was kind of our heart and soul of that defense. Number 8, Chris Collinsworth. 3 straight Pro Bowls, left the team, retired with the team with the most receiving yards at that point in time. And, I can't stand him on football calls either. His play-by-play is like nails on a chalkboard for me. Number 7, James Brooks. James Brooks was 4 straight Pro Bowls and a little ahead of his time, and I think we should have utilized him more. He was really good at catching the ball out of the backfield as much as he was running. So, again, that late 80s run that we had, he was a vital part of that team. Most people remember Ickey Woods because he was getting the touchdowns and doing the dances. But James Brooks had a better career and it was a little more vital part. Corey Dillon at number 6, 3 Pro Bowls, left as the leading rusher when he retired. Had the rookie single game record at 246 yards on 39 carries. That's another thing. Our team was pretty bad when he was here. And a lot of people stacked the box, and we kept running with him anyway. He also had, for a short time, the most yards in one game at 278 until I get him confused. Was that Drug Lewis or was that Murder Lewis? Which one's which? Okay,
Murder.
It's Jamal. That's right. My bad. Number 5, Chad Johnson. Love him or hate him, 4-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro, 4-time All-Pro, 3-time first team, 6-time. I'll get to Larry first. 6-time Pro Bowler. Led in receiving yards with 2006. Had 7 seasons over 1,000 yards. Best wide receiver in our history. Number 4, I have Boomer Esiason. Again, 10 out of 14 years with us. He was 88 MVP, 95 Man of the Year, All-Pro in 88 as well. 4-time Pro Bowler. Just shy of 38,000 passing yards, 247 touchdowns, and 184 interceptions. Number 3, and this is definitely a controversial one again, Willie Anderson. Willie Anderson was one of the best interior linemen of all time. 4 straight Pro Bowls during an absolute horrific time to be a Bengal. 96 to 2007. He did not have I felt terrible every time he re-signed. I really kind of wanted him to go and chase his ring or go have some success somewhere. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Joe Thomas. Played on some really terrible teams, and no one got by him. He dominated. Number 2, Kenny Anderson. 71 to 86. Last 3 years, he didn't really play much. 81 MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and Comeback Player of the Year that year. 75 Man of the Year, 2-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time passing yard champ, 4-time pass rating champ, 3-time completion percentage champ, and got a Super Bowl ring as an assistant or quarterbacks coach with the Steelers.
Number 1, not better than Ogden.
Number 1, Anthony Munoz. 91 Man of the Year. 11-time All-Pro, 9-time first team, 2-time second team, all-rookie, all-decade, 75th and 100th anniversary starter at tackle, and throw in a 1978 national champion from USC. You can have Ogden every day of the week. I'm taking Munoz. There were a couple guys I left off. I think Parrish was one of them. Who else? You had somebody else you threw up there. A lot of times it was either they didn't play the majority.
Tim Crumry.
Tim Crumry, again, didn't have the accolades as the All-Pros or as many Pro Bowls. Was actually, I loved him, broke his leg. Ahmad Icky Woods had 2 wonderful seasons. Not enough. Not enough All-Pros, not enough Pro Bowlers. He was kind of, to me, James Brooke was better. So
Did you say Kenny Anderson? Or Ken Anderson?
Icky Woods had 2 seasons. What about Kenny Anderson?
Kenny Anderson was
Did you
number
say
2 on his list. Number 2.
on
Okay,
my
I
list.
missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then, Lamar Paris was one I brought up. He only had 2 of his 6 Pro Bowls in a Bengals uniform. So there were some reasons why I left those guys out. See, Eddie's very intelligent.
Oh, I forgot about him. Eddie Powers. Ken Riley was a great defensive back.
He was. He actually he had a lot of picks too, but he never got those Pro Bowls. So more picks than anybody in team history. He was on my outside looking in. He was close. Kathy Dalton is never going to be on any list I put out there unless he's talking something to do with frustration.
I'm happy that you got Chad on that list. If I'd made the list, he'd have been my number 1. Chad was such a fantastic receiver during that run with I forget the coach.
Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer, right. And he probably the best receiver, not named Randy Moss during the league right then and there. He was so good. Route running, feet, hands. He had it.
You think Ocho Cinco was better than T.O.?
Yes. I mean, during that short burst they had, and from what, like 04 to maybe 07, 08, he was about there. He was about, in a discussion for the best receiver in the game.
Wow.
Him, Smitty, T.O., and Randy, it'd have been a toss-up for me.
Now,
yeah,
I'm
happy
also
he
going to
made
say
that
this.
list.
Call me in 5 years, and I expect at least 3 guys on our team right now to be on this list.
Well, that would be Joe Burrow, Lamar Chase,
Mixon.
and Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see he'll probably be the Bengals all-time leading rusher by the time he's done. Especially if he gets one more contract and stays.
I don't see another contract from him, but maybe.
I don't either, but we got him through 25.
Isaac Curtis.
Ken Anderson and Willie Anderson are both on the Hall of Fame ballots for the what do they call it, legacy guys this year. That's probably why I moved. I honestly, Willie Anderson, when I was first just doing this, before I dug into that and a couple other things a little more, I had him at 6 behind Boomer and Chad Johnson, and then I moved him up.
What'd you think about Chris Henry?
Man, I don't know. He had pretty special skill to get behind defensive back.
Game breaker for real.
So I know a little bit more about Burfict than I probably should, just because of my buddy owned a restaurant, bar, and nightclub down in Cincinnati, whatever. Just some things that he wasn't a good teammate. He'd hit you, but he just, I don't know. He was very frustrating, I think, to most Bengals fans.
All right, so lot of comments, a lot of stuff on the Bengals. Let's go ahead and get to the Steelers list, my list. And this is really subjective, right? Because it's
because that's what you do.
No, well, I'm saying this is my list, but all these Steeler fans out here could have a different list. I mean, some of the same people, but somebody theoretically could have 3 different people in their top 10, and I have in my top 10, right? At least 3.
And honestly, you guys got a lot of great players in your history too, so there's that.
Right. Well, that's what makes this difficult. But we'll go ahead and start with my number 10 is Hines Ward. Hines Ward has 1,000 receptions. He has just that Steeler mentality and bravado. He's a football player. He wasn't one of those diva wide receivers, right? He came, he would lay blocks on you. He would make those physical catches. He's one of the all-time great receivers. And believe it or not, I have Hines Ward on this list over AB. I don't have AB on my top 10. And Lynn Swann, one of my favorite all-time Pittsburgh Steelers. But Hines Ward just is indicative of what being a Steeler is all about. So he's my number 10. Number 9, you got to get the running game going. To get the running game going, you got to get on the bus, right? You got to get on the bus, man. Jerome Bettis is my number 9 all-time Pittsburgh Steeler. Back up one. Hines Ward should be a Hall of Famer. Jerome Bettis is a Hall of Famer.
Bettis is number 9? Wow.
Bettis is number 9. Is that too high or too low for you?
I got that as low.
Low? Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Number 8 is Mel Blount. Mel Blount, one of the best all-time corners ever. 6'3", 210, physical. Back in the day where you could just ragdoll a receiver, and Mel Blount really used to do that. Mel Blount was an absolute beast on that steel curtain defense. I mean, he was on the defense with like about 4 or 5 other Hall of Famers, but Mel Blount stands out that group. Number 7, the Immaculate Reception, Franco Harris, the franchise's all-time leading rusher. Franco was just the key to the running game of all those Super Bowl teams back in the 70s. I mean, it took all parts of the team, right? That's why they were so dominant. The steel curtain defense. You had Bradshaw back at quarterback, throwing deep balls to Lynn Swann and John Stallworth. So it was just a total team. But Franco Harris made that run game go for a lot of years. Number 6. Some people might think this is low on the list. It's tough though. Jack Lambert. Jack Lambert is one of the best all-time middle linebackers. He kind of was the heartbeat of that Pittsburgh Steelers steel curtain, with all his snaggle tooth and his face mask. And Jack Lambert came from Kent State. Jack Lambert was I got him as a top 5 inside linebacker of all time as far as the league goes, but number 1 Pittsburgh Steelers as far as inside linebackers, a linebacker-rich franchise. Number 5, Terry Bradshaw. Got Terry Bradshaw at number 5. 4 Super Bowls, league MVP, 3 Pro Bowls. So Terry, the thing is, I mean, he did what they did back in that day as far as throwing the ball. They took shots. You know what I mean? They ran the ball and they took shots. If Terry Bradshaw played today, I think he could throw for a higher percentage. I don't think he would have. I think he would have.
For all of you wondering, he's defending him to me right now because he knows it's coming.
Well, we'll talk about as soon as I'm done. I'm trying to speed things along so we can get our draft in. But yeah, Bradshaw, all those Super Bowls, if he played today, he would throw for a higher percentage. But like I said, back then, those guys, your Kenny Stablers, your Joe Namaths, your Jim Plunkett's, they just dropped back and they had strong arms and threw the deep ball. My number 4 is Rod Woodson. Rod Woodson is my all-time favorite Pittsburgh Steeler. He was a great defensive cornerback in his day before he injured his ACL, got shook by Barry Sanders real bad, shook him out his ACL, and he never was quite the same at corner, moved to safety. A lot of great years. That's how great he was. He was a Hall of Fame corner, and then he had to transition to safety, and he probably would be an all-time Hall of Fame safety also. Not at the top of the list, but up there with some of the greats. And up there, that's my Rod Woodson autograph helmet. So Rod Woodson, my all-time favorite Steeler, but he's number 4 on my list. Number 3, Troy Polamalu, eight-time Pro Bowl Defensive Player of the Year. He was I'd say he probably was the heartbeat of that second Steeler dynasty. From 2006 to 2011 or 12, only 2 Super Bowls in there, but a couple more AFC Championship games, always in the playoff, always in contention. So right behind that, right before Troy, number 2, Big Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, we all know what it is. We know what it is with Big Ben. Over 60,000 yards passing, 400 plus touchdowns, 2 Super Bowls, went to 3 Super Bowls, 6 Pro Bowls in the AFC when it was tough to get in the Pro Bowl. I mean, you were going up against Tom Brady and Peyton Manning every year, regardless. Those guys were there. So to make 6 Pro Bowls in his career in the AFC, I think that's saying a lot. And the connection I have with Terry Bradshaw and I. Terry Bradshaw and I share a birthday. Terry Bradshaw was born on September 2nd. My birthday is September 2nd. I was born on Terry Bradshaw's 24th birthday. My connection to Ben Roethlisberger was born from the same hometown I'm from, Lima, Ohio. That's where Big Ben is from. So shout out to Lima, Ohio and Big Ben, and shout out to September 2nd birthdays, me and Terry Bradshaw. And Eric Dickerson. Man, I bet you guys don't have no NFL all-time greats that you share birthdays with like those two. And then last but not least, number 1, I think we all know who it is. He started this thing to where we are today, and that is Mean Joe Green, the most dominant defensive player arguably ever. I mean, there's some really good players now. I mean, you put Aaron Donald in there, J.J. Watt in this prime, Lawrence Taylor. But, yeah, I go Lawrence Taylor and Mean Joe Green, greatest defensive players all the time. But Mean Joe Green started the steel curtain. He was the power and the enforcer of that defense that made everything go. So, there's my top 10 Steelers list. You guys got any questions? Anybody leave off you to put on? Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, there should only be one offensive player in that top 5, and you put him at 9. And threw 2 quarterbacks in front of him. Oh, Jesus. I don't know, man. I don't know. Lambert behind Troy P. I think that's sacrilegious for the Steelers. It begins and ends with him and Mean Joe. I think that's just how it's got to be. Wow. You got Ben. Well, Ben, you got Ben number 3.
I have Ben number 2.
2?
Yeah, there's some good ones over here. Donnie Shell, Mike Webster.
I mean, that's what
L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham.
Where's Damari Dawson? Like, out of all the players for your franchise, that was the rock of your offensive line from the late 80s through the 2000s. Like, number 1, the whole time he played, he was considered probably the number 1 center in the league.
You're right. And you're saying that he's not even number 1 center in our franchise, though. Mike Webster is.
Okay.
Great player. Now, I can't agree with putting Jerome Bettis over Ben Roethlisberger. Come on, man. You can't even. You know what? I know why you said that, because what he did to Brian Urlacher, right? That's what it's about. You have a fondness.
I mean, if you give old 54 the business, I mean, you deserve all the props. But yeah, that'd have been the only offensive player I put in my top 5.
Hey, Pay, take a shot at that question right there. Kathy asked, "What do you think?"
How do you think some of those older players were fair on teams today?
Yeah.
Excluding Terry Bradshaw, I don't think he would be any much better. But, in a vacuum, well, not in a vacuum, I'm sorry, but, most older players will probably, if you just put them in a spaceship, in a time machine and just drop them off and right now, they'll adjust. It's a lot easier to play football nowadays. But if they grew up in this era and they had those the rules as they are, they'll be just as great.
Yeah, I think things would change with their workouts, their nutrition. So I think those great players then would be great now if they lived in today's age of how you
active players, present players, no matter the sport, they all owe a debt of gratitude. Their greatness today wouldn't be what it is without the players of yesterday. Everything builds on top of it. Everything builds on one another. You have, like you said, the nutrition, your how you take care of yourself, your work habits, all of it comes from watching the players that you grew up watching, and then you pattern yourself, and and as science matures,
big bags of money.
Yeah,
you start hiring nutritionists. These guys, you got to remember, we're comparing an era where they used to drink beers and smoke cigarettes at halftime.
Shout out to Ken Dawson, Len Dawson.
I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard. You got to compare basically to how dominant they were in their own era. The eras are always going to change. Now they're throwing the ball all over the place. It's just a completely different game.
Hey, you see,
piggybacking off what you said, they throwing the ball all over the place. AB doesn't make the top 10 list, and and Ben Roethlisberger just looked for him almost on every 3 out of 4 plays. So Ben, he stat padded so much thanks to AB. So if AB don't make the list, Ben might be too high.
Joe Green, greatest player in your tenure or your team's history. Jordan Davis is running 4.78 40-yard dashes out here at 350. Like, the world's a different place.
Right.
Hard to compare that.
So real quick, we're gonna have this draft. Hey, live chat. I want you just to put a number 1 through 10, of where you put Ben Roethlisberger on your all-time Steelers list. I'm just kind of curious what the rest of Steeler Nation thinks about this one. But we're going to get into this fancy AFC North fancy draft real quick, our last 7 or 8 minutes. We're going to start with you, Payday. You can pick any position, but by the time we're done, we're going to go you, Andre, me, Brandon, me, Andre, you. Up and down, snake order. So
hold on. Before we go, I'm gonna have to treat you like Cassius Clay, like Muhammad Ali. I changed my name to Mike Tate for a reason. It's written right there. Gang family. My name is Mike Tate.
What's your middle name?
I'm gonna make you go say my name. Say my name.
I'm not worried about that, Andre.
7 is fair. I agree with George. 7 is fair for Big Ben. But let me get this the fantasy draft started. I've got the first pick, and we're doing this fantasy style. First pick, give me Cleveland Brown legend Jim Brown, number 1 off the board.
No. Current players.
Oh, I thought he was doing all
time. Right now.
Okay, all right. Right now, I'm still stay Cleveland. Give me Nick Chubb off the board.
Andre, he took your running back. Your turn.
You already know who I got. Give me Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Give me Lamar Jackson.
Wait. Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson, yeah.
I'm gonna take Najee.
Oh, I thought I was gonna get him to come back to me, but
nah, son. Good strategy. Ain't happening.
Well, then I'm gonna have to go ahead and take. I'm gonna have to take Jamar Chase. It's on you, Andre. Mike. It's on you, Mike.
Give me. It's loud here, man. I'm sorry. Give me. Give. Hello. Can y'all hear me?
Who'd you
Yep.
say?
Give me Pittsburgh's defense.
Oh, that's threw us for a loop. Payday.
Yeah. How do I follow that? You know, Mike loves drafting defenses incredibly early. Just like he grabbed the quarterback incredibly early. Okay.
Got me to the Super Bowl the past 2 years, player. Step your game
All right,
up,
all
homie.
right, all right. I won't argue there. I'm gonna stay the course and do this smart fantasy style. Give me Mixon off the board.
One running back, two receivers.
One running back, two receivers. I'm
One,
sorry.
yeah.
Okay. All right. And Chase is already gone. So let me get oh yeah, he left the division. Your TikTok guy.
Juju, yeah.
Yeah, Juju Beans. Okay. I'm going to stay with I don't know. I'm gonna leave Cleveland. I'm gonna go to Cincinnati. I'm gonna take some of their wide receiver talent and let me get
T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd.
I'm gonna go Higgins.
Okay. Andre. So far, Peter, you got Nick Chubb and T. Higgins.
Right.
Amari Cooper.
Okay. I'm going to take Deontay Johnson, wide receiver, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Mark Andrews.
Oh, good one. Good one. I'm going to take Joe Mixon.
Aren't I supposed to get two coming back?
Oh, yeah, you are.
You didn't do that to me
Well,
last. You did the same thing last time. We didn't do.
I didn't get two either.
We're
Yeah,
too far in now. Just go, Brandon.
All right.
Hey, Payday, you know Mitchell Trubisky is on the Steelers.
Yeah. I know. Steelers for the Super Bowl, right? Bet the under. Bet the under if he starts.
Brandon?
I'll tell you what. I mean, ooh, Deshaun Watson, is he gonna play?
You can take the risk, and then you'll be not having a quarterback for a few weeks.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna have to go. Man, I'm gonna go Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. Now I go. Who did I say last? Oh, Joe Mixon.
And I got to step away real quick.
Well, we're gonna skip you over in the draft. Go ahead, Payday.
Right. Go ahead and give me. I'm gonna take Brissett now because I don't know about Deshaun. I'll take Brissett now and give me. Najee's already gone. Give me what was the Cincinnati's tight end? I can't. His name. I'm fumbling on his name right now.
Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, they got rid of the guy that you thinking. He went to the Jets.
Okay, scratch that. Go ahead and give me Baltimore's defense then.
Okay. And since Andre's not here, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Let's see. I got Lamar Jackson. I got Joe Mixon. I got Jamar Chase. I got Deontay Johnson. And let me go ahead and get my tight end, Pat Freiermuth. Come back, Andre. Make a pick.
And Njoku.
Okay, tight end for you. B Dirt's on you, man.
I'm gonna take my first pick. I'm gonna take Rashad Bateman.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm gonna take I'm gonna take let's see, Justin Tucker, first kicker gone.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take
good
Chris
pick.
Boswell. Chris Boswell, next kicker going. Andre, Mike Tate.
I don't remember his name. Who's the Irish Hammer? What's my kicker name in Cleveland?
Cleveland kicker is what we call him.
Cade York.
There you go.
Cade York.
There you go. York.
Pay.
I'm gonna take Chase Claypool as my second receiver,
Oh, nice.
and go ahead. You took their kicker already, right?
I took Pittsburgh's kicker.
Yeah, I'll wait. Let me get. How many more selections we got?
I think this is it, right? I mean, you got a defense. You got a tight end yet?
I got a tight end. Give me AFC kicker number 1.
That's Cincinnati's kicker.
Yeah, yes, take him.
Hey,
That's Evan McPherson. He's a badass.
he was partying at halftime of the Super Bowl last year. He was great for a rookie last year. So is that it? So let me see.
I still need 2 because we skipped the way we did it.
You got a quarterback, a running back, 2 receivers, a tight end, a defense, and a kicker.
I don't have a quarterback or a defense because we skipped me on the snake draft.
Well, pick your quarterback and pick your.
Well, who's the defense left?
Cleveland and the Bengals.
No one took the Browns or Bengals defense.
Yeah.
Well, that's impossible. I'll take the Browns.
Yeah, that's smart.
Okay, and I got the Bengals. That's why I was great. Pick the Browns defense. I got the Bengals.
And then I got somebody took Mitch Trubisky. Then, huh?
No.
You can get Kenny Pickett though. You in Pittsburgh.
Oh, you know what?
Take them both.
I'm taking
They both gonna play.
I'm taking Jacoby Brissett for the win.
No, I got Brissett. I got Brissett. I did.
Man. I'll take Mitch.
Okay. Hey, Pay, name your team real quick. Run it down.
My team, I have Brissett at the quarterback. I have Chubb running back. My two receivers are T. Higgins and Chase Claypool. My tight end is
Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst, and my kicker. My defense is Baltimore's defense, and my kicker is Evan McPherson.
Good squad. Andre, what's your team?
Mike.
Like he froze out.
Is he frozen? He just look like a serial killer.
But
okay,
he's pretty upset.
I like it.
my team, real quick, before you got here, is Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Joe Mixon, running back, Jamar Chase and Deontay Johnson, receivers, Pat Freiermuth, tight end, Cincinnati defense, Chris Boswell, my kicker, and that's it. Yeah. Okay. What's yours, B Dirt?
If I were you, I'd sit that defense half the year. Just not take negatives. Mitch Trubisky, and then after that, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. And Mitch may have a better sneaky year than some think. Najee Harris, Tyler Boyd, I have Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, Browns defense, and Justin Tucker.
If we were all playing together, honestly, I like my team better.
I do too.
Well, yeah, man, you wouldn't got LJ, who's probably the best quarterback in the division at this point. So
at least fantasy wise, potentially. I mean, Joe Burrow probably throws more touchdowns, but you talking about rushing yards and rushing TDs and probably a good 25 touchdowns throwing in the air. But man, this was fun, guys. I mean, I appreciate you guys joining me. You guys got any parting shots before you get out of here?
Steelers, overrated.
Are they better than the Chicago Bears?
Very much so. Everybody is though.
Hey, well, let me ask you this: you're a Chicago Bears fan, right? So, what do you think is the deal with Mitchell Trubisky? I always thought you guys went too high in the draft for him, trading up and everything. But I mean, is the pedigree there? Can he be? No.
No. Trubisky is a top 45 quarterback in the league. I'm sorry, Kathy. Trubisky is a what I used to call him Mitch L. Emphasis on the L. He's a top 45 quarterback in the league. He can make a roster. He's good enough to make a roster. Is he good enough to start? No. I don't know if he learned anything over there in his 1 year in Buffalo, but but if he's still the guy that I watched for 4 seasons, you're gonna if you get into a third and long, second and long, you go ahead and get ready to start punting. He's not going to push the ball. Najee, so a bit of a little fantasy advice. Najee, this is gonna be his time. Even though running backs, second year running backs are always great. That winning record, thanks to their defense. Thank you, Chicago Bear defense, for propping Mitch up. But yeah, second year running backs are always great fantasy wise, and because Mitchell is the quarterback over there in Pittsburgh, Najee's going to have a great year. He's going to get the ball a ton. But I don't expect much coming from any team quarterbacked by Mitchell Trubisky.
So you would go ahead and put Kenny Pickett in, but okay,
The sooner the better. The sooner the better.
Insight. Hey, B Dirt, you got anything to say before we get out of here, man?
Of course, I'm gonna not share my opinion because this isn't a 2-hour show on Terry Bradshaw. Instead, I'm gonna go to a different subject. We'll save that one for later. Jesse Bates is a great teammate, a good safety. Everybody seems to love him in the locker room. That said, you are not worthy of being the highest paid safety in the league. Accept the $65 million offer and come to work. That's all I got for that.
Okay, yeah, sounds like he might sit out. But yeah, man. So again, thank you guys. Like I said about the Steelers top 10 list, man, it's a tough one to do because anybody, you probably got five definite top 10s in there. They're all the same. And you probably got another 5 that other people think, something different. But, that's what happens when you have an all-time great franchise. I mean, we're talking about our last 3 coaches. Tomlin's going to go to the Hall of Fame, all Hall of Famers. So, I mean, it's –
My man, Sean, I just read his comment. Mitch took two abysmal teams to the playoffs. No. An abysmal team went to the playoffs twice, and Mitch just happened to be a starter.
The defense drug him kicking and screaming like a 4-year-old leaving the cereal aisle.
We had a great schedule help that get us into the playoffs both times. Mitch took us nowhere.
Well, we'll see. Training camp starts in about another week and a half, so we'll get started and see where we're going. But again, thank you guys for joining me. I mean, guys are welcome back anytime. B Dirt, you a regular pretty much. But hey, man, I appreciate your insight and all your football knowledge you shared with us today, man. So we'd love to have you back too. But Steeler Nation, thanks for joining us this Sunday, man. And I'm going to jump off here and jump on to my Know It Alls podcast. Check out the rest of the BTSC broadcasts, all the shows, tomorrow, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Jeff Hardman's Ride or Die. Tomorrow night's The Hangover with Brian Anthony Davis, Tony Defio, and Shannon White. The Scobro Show on Tuesday. You guys know the lineup. Be sure to check them out. The one-stop shop for all your Steelers info. So until next week, when I'm back on here, peace.
Peace.
Peace.